So, you know, when it comes to truly forgiving people and forgiving yourself is you have to just you can't let it own you, you can't let it control you. You have to see, this is the way it used to be for me. Is there was certain people in my life that did things to me. Okay, we'll just make it that simple. And people told me, "Oh, well, you got to forgive them. You got to move on." And I'm like, "Why? How how is forgiving them? Why do I have to do that?" And one person said, "You forgive them for you." I'm like, okay, I guess that kind of makes sense. Um, and then I actually got to the point with my own thought process is like, I'm not forgiving that person because I don't want to forget how they made me feel. And when I basically said that I don't want to forget how they made me feel, what I was basically saying is that there's no way that I could have recovered from how they made me feel. There's no way I could move on from how they made me feel, or there was no purpose to how they made me feel. So when the trauma is that severe that you can't move on, that you don't want to move on, you've you've got to really learn how to distance yourself and them. You've got to learn how to integrate and incorporate what you are. And what I mean by that is, if you say that I don't want to forgive that person, then basically you're saying is I don't want to learn from this situation. I don't want to grow from this situation. I don't want to move on from this situation. I don't want to incorporate this situation. And I don't want to, for just lack of a better term, get a better quality of life. Because you've got to ask yourself, is sacrificing my own happiness and well being worth holding on to this? Resentment, we'll just put it that way, resentment. Is my well being worth this resentment? Is my health worth this resentment? And guys, if you have an extreme amount of resentment, which, I mean, I had a lot of it and I've got less today. If you have a lot of resentment, guys, you've got to start learning how to forgive yourself and you have to learn how to forgive them. You got to forgive yourself saying, listen, you didn't ask for it to happen, or you didn't think it could happen, or you didn't know how to see it coming, or you didn't know how to prevent it. Number one, you got to give yourself some slack. Just to simply say, I didn't bring this about. I didn't want this to happen. But at the same time, you've got to forgive them. You've got to forgive them because that weight and that burden is going to do nothing but hold you down. You've got to forgive them. Maybe you can learn what their perspective was. Maybe you can walk in their shoes a little bit. Maybe you can figure out why they did it. Maybe they were just having a really bad day that day and it came out the worst possible way. Maybe that was the best they could have done. It's like, really? Beating my ass was the best they could have done? It's possible. Guys, you've got to understand just because you can see it clear as a bell doesn't mean they could. I've had to come to terms with this and my parents. Oh my God. There is so much in my life that I can see crystal clear. Like, we're talking 4K, crystal clear. Like, how did you not see that? And I need to realize that I'm looking through my eyes. They were looking through their eyes. I've got my set of situations. They had their set of situations. They did what they thought was best at that moment. Or they did what they could do. Not everyone can do everything. Not everyone can do everything. Because if you say, well, he should have knew better, they shouldn't have done that, maybe they didn't. And you have to be at peace with that. I know that's really crummy, but you have to just sit with it. You have to be at peace with it. Not everyone can do everything, especially parents, especially families of origin. You see, families of origin, it's really funny because at the end of the day is these people know you the best. And there's like an impression that you get from these people that they should do no harm, right? Or they should know more about you because these people conceived you. They can't know everything and they can't do everything. I've had difficult conversations with my family of origin, difficult conversations. And I asked him flat, I said, why did you do that? And he's like, I was doing the best I could. And I said, okay, why didn't you use these other resources? And he's like, I thought I didn't have the time. Okay. And then you go to the last one was, okay, so out of everything you did, why did you continue that path? And he's like, because I thought I was doing right. So, that's a difficult pill to swallow, okay? That is a very difficult pill to swallow. When the person that caused you pain and trauma was literally doing their best. The person that caused you pain and trauma was literally doing their best. That's a hell of a situation to grapple with. And I think we need to cover that for the next video. So I'll see you then.